Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Stephanie and this is the week 9, February the 24th through March the 12th weekly wrap up. As I said, this is the weekly wrap up for February the 24th through March the 2nd, and I had a pretty good reading week. I had a very busy week. We had one snow day, so I got some extra reading done. Not really. I did get 7 books read this week, so let's get to what I read. The first book that I finished this week was The Hunter, Victorian Rebels #2 by Kerrigan, Byrne, and I place this in historical romance. I give it 4 stars. I give it 3 Steam fans, and I listened to it on audiobook. This book was read for Romanceopoly for the Austen Way space of historical romance. So this story follows Christopher and Millie. Christopher is a assassin that is hired to kill Millie for this secret that she holds, and I thought this story was going to be a couple that was introduced at the end of the first book, The Highwaymen, but this wasn't. This was a completely different couple. I hadn't been introduced to them, so it took me a little bit to get into the story. Christopher is a young boy when we first meet him, and he grew up in the prison in which, on the women's side of the prison, that our first hero was assigned to or was captured in, what have you. And he learns to defend women. He will not kill children because of some of the things that he had done to him or things that he saw while he was in that prison with his mother. And in turn, Millie has a little boy in which is super cute, and she's an actor, so she's been playing this part. Women in England, in London at that time frame, were getting murdered, and they were trying to figure out what this was all about, because why were these women getting killed and their kids were getting taken and things like that. So it turns into a bit of a mystery, but it's still a historical romance. It is sassy, and Millie is super sassy. I loved her in this, and I really did enjoy Christopher after I got to know him a little bit more. So I can't wait to continue on with this series as well. The next book that I read was A Taste of Pleasure by Chloe Blake, and I place this in contemporary. I give it 4 stars. I give it 3 Steam fans, and I read this one as an ARC for a Read Bliss project, but this is the first chance that I got to actually read this book. It is an interracial romance, and I really enjoyed it. In this book, you have Danica, who is a chef. She is actually a ghost chef for this guy that she is sleeping with, who has a restaurant in New York, and they have a bit of a falling out. But before that happens, before they have the falling out, let me back up a little bit. Danica meets Tony at her best friend's wedding, and they have like this sexual chemistry right off the bat, and then they have a one night stand in Brazil at the wedding. And then 6 months later, Danica is sleeping with her boss, who is also the restaurant's sort of top chef. She has earned them Michelin stars at the restaurant and everything like that. Well, come to find out, he's a bad guy. He's sleeping with other people, and she catches him and is like, okay, I got you. I'm out. Deuces. Peace out. And come to find out, her mother is this world-renowned, like, supermodel. Gives that feel and vibe that Danica is probably mixed, biracial, because her father is Swedish and her mother is African American. Gives us that feeling that mom is like a Grace Jones sort of Naomi Campbell supermodel. She is just fierce and crazy, but at the same time, you know, they have their problems, so it's a little bit of a family dynamic with Danica and her mother. And then when they go to Milan, she happens to meet up with Tony again, who is a sommelier or wine guy. That's his business, wine and restaurants and pairings and things like that. When Danica goes to visit her mentor in Milan, he ends up having a heart attack and she has to take over the kitchen for him. And come to find out, Tony has a relationship with him as well. So it turns into this fun meet you again sort of romance, and deals with a lot of insecurities on both ends, both in Tony in his past relationships and Danica in her current relationships with her mother and with men and her self-esteem and things like that. I really enjoyed this story, and I look forward to reading more by Chloe Blake. The next book that I read was Drowning to Breathe, Bleeding Stars, number 2 by A.L. Jackson, and I place this in contemporary. I only give this book 3 stars. I give it 3.5 Steam fans, and I listened to it on audiobook. I read this for Romanceopoly for the Subway Space Downtown, which is a Rockstar romance, and now I remember why it took me so long to get into this second book. The first book left us on a cliffhanger where Sebastian and Shay had just lost Callie, who is Shay's little girl. It picks up right there, and I did enjoy the story, but there were aspects of the story that I just felt were very frustrating. Like, one being that there was a lot of repeat words, so it would say it in the description or in describing someone's appearance or in describing thoughts and things like that, it would go falling, falling, beautiful, beautiful, pretty, pretty. And it just got a little annoying. Actually, not a little, quite annoying. And so annoying that I marked it down on stars. And then there was a lot of aspects that I just kept wanting Sebastian and Shay to just like pull their heads out of their asses and be like, okay, we're adults and this is how it's gonna be. So yeah, and then it also turned into sort of a murder mystery in there as well, a little bit of suspense, and I was like, okay, where'd that come from? But you know, for what it was, yeah. I am gonna read the third book, which I believe is a standalone to this. I believe this story for this couple is done and the new book is for a different couple. So hopefully it will change a little. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. The next book that I read was Evermore by Corinne Michaels. I place this in contemporary novella, and I give it 4.25 stars. I give it 3.5 Steam fans, and you're only going to see 3 Steam fans there, but I did read it as an arc. This is a novella in the 1001 Dark Nights novella collection, and I really enjoyed getting back to our Salvation series, guys. I have missed them oh so much. So we have Gretchen, who is one of the friends, female friends, for that women's friend group in the Salvation series, and she is left at the altar when we enter the story. But before that, you find out that she had a long lost love that she kind of lost touch with and kind of wish she hadn't, but the guy that left her at the altar was a douche in the first place. He didn't want to take her out in public. They didn't have public dates, and she had a lot of insecurities. She thought it was just because she was driven and she had things that she wanted to do because she's a lawyer. Well, when she decides, or when he leaves her at the altar, she's like, okay, I'm done then. I'm going to leave my job because he was the boss at the firm that she worked at. So that bridge was burned. And she moves to Virginia Beach, Virginia, to work with the Salvation guys at the Jackson Security Company. And lo and behold, in walks her friend from her childhood, who she loved oh so much, Ben. And Ben has been through some things in his life to get to where they are right now, and I just really enjoyed seeing them come back together. This very much lost love story. It's really quick and it's fun, and their sexy moments were sexy. I love that, and I just wanted so much more. I wanted it to keep going, and I did have a little bit of a problem with figuring out where in the timeline all of this was happening, because I have read the complete Salvation series, but I couldn't figure out where in time this one fell, but that's okay. I still really enjoyed it. Then the next book that I read was A Fire in His Embrace, which is Fireblood Dragon number 3 by Ruby Dixon. Loved it. Loved it. Gave it 4 stars for Steam fans. I listened to it on audiobook. This is a paranormal romance with shifters. I did read this for my Romanceopoly Fated Mates space, or yes, space, because it's the mystery space for I believe the dates are like February the 1st until April the 1st. So I have now completed that space within the correct amount of time. And these two are fated. This is diving more into the dragons that we have met in the other 2 books. And I liked these 2 because Emma, we met in the last book. She is this sort of loner that is on her own, and she ends up getting picked up by the nomads. And she feels bad that she was being used to capture Zor, and he ends up injuring himself because they figure out that they are supposed to be together. She ends up making sure that they're mated, and I loved it. I love that different sort of turn on it. Some people may find it, a little harder to take, because she does take him and not really challenge, but she takes him and to create the bond, the mental bond that they have, so that they can be together. But their dynamic was great, and I loved it even more now because this dragon had more knowledge of their past than the other 2 dragons, and I just really enjoyed that. I am really looking forward to getting into the rest of the series, because now the story is really unfolding for these dragons. The next book that I read was Roping the Cowboy by Kennedy Fox. This in erotic short stories. I give it 4 stars. I give it 4 Steam fans, and I listen to it on my podcast. Read me romance. Read me romance. Yes. So this story follows Katarina and Braxton. From what I gathered from the banter that was given before the story actually started, is that we actually meet Braxton in one of the other Bishop Brothers series or books, and he is also, I guess, probably mentioned in, I think it's called Falling for the Cowboy by Kennedy Fox as well. So that right there was a little bit of a spoiler. It does give you spoilers for which couples end up together, what their mates' names are, and things like that. Not necessarily how they end up together, but it does let you know who is together now and things like that, because you're back in Texas and you're learning about these 2. So these 2 end up meeting one night at the honky tonk, and they have a one-night stand. And then they take some time apart, or have some time apart, and come to find out they have more of a connection than they thought they had. And this is a true hate to love situation going on. They play pranks on each other, and it's a laugh out loud funny. I mean, it's just really, really funny, and their sexy moments are sexy. So yeah. To finish off the week, I read The Prince and the Player, Dirty Player number 1, Duet by Tia Louise. I give this book 4.5 stars. I give it 4 Steam fans. I listened to it on audiobook, and I place it in contemporary. This book follows Zelda, Ava, Rowan, and McCollin. And oh my goodness. So you have a square going on. You have 2 females, 2 males, who's gonna hook up with who, and Ava and Zelda are orphans who have been taking care of themselves since they left the foster system, because they didn't want the atrocities that were happening to them to happen any longer. And yeah, so they are pretty much con women at this point. Well, Zelda is. Ava is too pretty to be a con woman, so she can't necessarily be in the cons, but Zelda is. She gets caught, and they have to go to Madagascar. I don't think it's Madagascar. Madagascar? Some small Mediterranean country where Rowan and McCullen, or Cal, Rowan is soon to be king, and Cal is the prince regent, and yeah, they're supposed to pair up a certain way. That doesn't necessarily happen, and their chemistry of all four of them is off the chain. It is sort of a love at first sight sort of thing, and I really, really enjoyed it. There is a mystery that goes along with it, so there's some suspense. And there's some twists and turns that I did not see coming. I really enjoyed it. I read this because I was going to see Tia Louise at a book signing, and I've met her 3 or 4 other times, but this is the first book that I've actually read of hers. I have quite a few of her other books, but I just hadn't done it, and now I did, and I'm real happy, and I'll be diving more into more of her books. I can't wait. This was like really twisty, turny, and sexy, and fun, and I just need more. Need more. Need more. It does leave off on a cliffhanger because it is the first part of a duet, but the second part is already out, so you don't have to wait around to hear about it. And that brings us to what I'm currently reading. I am currently reading A Player for a Princess by Tia Louise, which is the second book in the Dirty Players duet. This book follows Zelda and Cal after she left the island under the twists and turns that happened at the end of the first book. And I am about 30% into it, and I am loving it. Loving it so much. I can't wait. I will probably finish that tonight before it'll be my first book that I review next week, and I'm just really enjoying it. Loving how their story is evolving and turning out and everything like that. I am also still reading Tumble, which is Dogwood Lane #1 by Ariana Locke. And I haven't gotten any further than the 10% that I was before, where I have met Neely. I know that she came from a small town and she went to New York, and now she's back from New York into that small town, and we've just met Dane. I do know now that they have a history, and for some reason they had a falling out or miscommunication where Neely ended up leaving, and Dane is still trying to figure out if she will forgive him. So that's where I'm at with that one. And I actually didn't get to get the chance to start Diary of a Bad Boy by Meghan Quinn last week, so it is going to be slotted in for this week as being read, which I will be reading it. It is an arc. It comes out the end of this week, so make sure you're looking for that, and my review for it will be up next week because I will finish it this week. So that is everything that I currently read, or that I'm currently reading, and the books that I read last week. Let me know down in the comments if I sound better, because I did get a new mic. You guys can't see it, but it's like right there, and hopefully I am projecting more. And I didn't hear very much feedback in the last couple videos that I did, but just in case, I wanted to get sort of a directional thing going when it comes to my voice. Let me know if I sound clearer or if I should just go back to how I was recording before. Down in the comments, let me know if you have read any of those books that I just named off. Is there something that you guys want more clarification on or want me to elaborate on? Let me know as well. Let me know what you thought of them if you have read them down in the comment section. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, there is a feedback form down in the description box so you guys can help me improve my channel. Thank you for watching, and we will see you guys later.